Hey everybody, so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 different things that are completely free that will change your child's life. And as you all know, or maybe you don't know because you may be new to this channel, but I specialize in working with children in those early childhood stages of life. So when I'm talking about your child, I'm not really referring to a teenager, although some of these things could apply. What I'm really referring to are those children in those early stages of life, babies, toddlers, early preschoolers. So the first thing that you can do that is absolutely free is to talk to your baby. Now, when your baby is starting to develop, when your baby is first born, they need exposure to as much language as possible. You want to be responding and having conversations with your baby as if you were talking to another adult. So you want to responding to them when they're cooing and when they're babbling and when they're speaking little gibberish words and you're like, I have no idea what you're saying. But that back and forth conversation is crucial for their language development. Start reading to them while they're still in the belly, and when they first come out from day 1, start talking to them. Start making that eye contact with them. The number of words that your baby is exposed to actually does influence their speech and language development. And it also influences their reading levels later on in life. In fact, a study was done that shown and proved that the more language that a child is exposed to, the more their brain power is boosted, which affects their success in school. In this same study, they discovered that children who were not exposed to a lot of language in those early stages of childhood actually ended up doing worse on their language tests in school. And also, by the age of 2, they were about 6 months behind their other peers who actually did have exposure to a lot of language. So one free thing, once again, is to talk to your baby. It will change their lives and set them up for success socially and academically. The second thing that you can do to change your child's life, which is absolutely free, is to simply play with them. Now, maybe I shouldn't say simply, because sometimes it can seem hard for certain parents to naturally play, because as adults, unfortunately, a lot of us forget how to play. So we need to take a step back, go back into our childhood and figure out how it is and remember the things that we like to do as children and do those things with our kids as well, because play affects so many different areas in your child's life. Play affects their ability to learn, it affects their social skills, their emotional regulation skills, it affects their problem solving skills, their imagination, their creativity. Play sets them up for everything else that they're going to have to learn and do for the rest of their lives. That's why play, especially in those first 3 years of life, is so essential for them. Now, you don't have to go out and buy and purchase some fancy toys with all the bells and whistles. You don't have to do that to play with your child. You can simply play with your child at home using what you have. Kids love to just use random things such as boxes, water bottles, plastic bottles, pots and pans. They use whatever they have access to. It's oftentimes the adults that we don't know exactly how to play with them, so we think we have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. But that is absolutely not the case. All you have to do is use your imagination, and if you don't have your imagination on point, there's tons of resources out there that you can look up and learn how to play with your child, because it is one of those things that is absolutely going to change your child's life. The third thing that is absolutely free that will change your child's life is movement. Move their bodies. You move your body with them. So by moving your bodies, yeah, of course, some people may think just exercise, but it doesn't have to be exercise in the sense that you typically would think of it. You could have your child move their bodies by simply going outside and playing in the backyard, going to the park, going for a walk, going on a family hike. You may even want to try out a dance party at your house. These things are simple and fun. Whatever it is that you can think of, whatever it is that your family enjoys, but just remember to get your child up and moving. I know in today's time there is so much reliance on screen time. We have tablets and we have iPads and our iPhones and TV, and it's just like everywhere we go there's a screen. But studies have shown that children who are more active actually are more behaved behaved and less disruptive. In fact, there was a study done in 2009 that studied children who had access to at least 15 minutes of recess every single day. And those children who had 15 minutes of recess or outdoor play were actually less disruptive and more behaved. They had more concentration and they were less stressed when it came to performance in the classroom. Movement also promotes brain growth, so it is so essential for you to get up and get out and get moving with your child. The fourth thing that you should do in order to change your child's life, which is absolutely free, is to model the behavior that you want your child to display. A lot of times you do things and you want your child to act the opposite of you. However, that's not always the best formula for success. A lot of children, especially in those first 3 years of life, they pick up everything. They pick up so much. Their brains are like little sponges and they're constantly soaking up everything. So that's why in some cases I've worked with parents who they will tell me like, oh, I said this word, or I did this thing or said this word like 6 months ago, and now I completely forgot that my child even was exposed to it, but now my child is repeating the same thing that I said, or they're doing the same thing that I did. So that just goes to tell you that kids are constantly absorbing information. So if you want your child to have a certain behavior when it comes to dealing with life problems or problem solving, you should be the one to be that model, be that role model for them. And don't just tell them what to do. You have to show them what to do, because modeling the behavior that you want to instill in your child is absolutely going to change their life. The fifth thing that you can do to change your child's life, which is absolutely free, is, and I know your children may not like this one, but it's going to benefit them in the long run. But the fifth thing that you can do is set limitations, set boundaries, instill discipline when necessary. Setting limits and setting boundaries is only going to help your child in the long run, because the purpose of those things is to help your child learn self-control, so they can learn on their own how to exhibit appropriate behaviors, how to have self-control in certain life situations. It's going to help your child understand that there are expectations. It's going to help your child to understand how to maneuver, how to problem solve, and how to discipline themselves when it comes to practices later on in life. And it's really basically just setting them up for the real world. Now, as an adult, you should know that in the real world, we just don't get everything that we want, when we want, how we want, all the time. We have to learn that some things are just gonna not happen for us. We have to learn how to deal with things not going our way all the time. We have to deal with when we don't get that promotion. So if you're constantly telling your child yes, 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 and always giving in to them everything they want, they're gonna be in for a rude awakening when they're adult, because in reality, the real world just does not work like that. And I will say too, the key part of this is to start early. You cannot wait until a child is 7, 10, 12, and then you want to start setting boundaries. Then you want to start setting limitations, because by then it's too late, because you have not been doing those things early on in life. So you want to start early. Those first 3 years of life, start setting some limitations, start setting some boundaries, because it's easier for your child to start to pick up and absorb and understand those expectations and understand that there are going to be some limits when they're much younger, rather than trying to all of a sudden shift how their brain has been programmed when they're much older. So start young and it will change your child's life. So in this video, I talked to you about the 5 free things that will change your child's life, and those things were talking to your baby, playing with your child, having some movement in their daily lives, modeling behavior, and setting limits and boundaries for them. Now, for those parents out there who are still struggling a little bit with understanding the importance of play, I'm going to link another video that you can watch that is going to talk to you about why it is so important that you play with your child. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.